our national prayer. O God of creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty. And we all say, Amen. Let's be seated, please. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with pride that I welcome all of you to this engagement or roundtable, if you like. But let me first and foremost welcome some of our very special guests that are here. I'd like to welcome the Honorable Minister for Regional Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo, that is here with us. Let's put our hands together for him. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Let me welcome the Chairman, House Committee on the Southeast Development Commission, and also representing the Deputy Speaker here, Honorable Chris Nkwota, if he's here. Okay, I welcome you. Thank you very much. Let me welcome the Chairman of the Development Commission, former Minister in Nigeria, always ready to contribute to national development, Dr. Emeka Wogusioen is also here with us. I'd like to welcome here the man that is making a difference. They say that a very good apple doesn't fall too far away from the main tree. He comes from a family of amazing service to nation. The Managing Director of the Southeast Development Commission, Mark Okoye, is also here with us. Let me welcome the MD CEO of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Abubakar Liu. If he's here with us, I welcome you. The representative here in Nigeria of UNDP, a woman that speaks with such clarity and force, Elsie Atafwa, is here with us. And from the Africa Finance Corporation, Fola Fagbule is also here. I welcome you. I'd like to also welcome all the executive directors of the Southeast Development Commission. And we have Right Honorable Stanley Ohajurika, Honorable Sylvester Okonkwo, Senator Anthony Agbo, Honorable Toby Okechukwu, and Dr. Clive Ogbede. Executive Directors, I welcome all of you. I also like to welcome here representing the Honorable Minister of Budget and Economic Development, Kenneth Onyemechi Kwajeli, PhD, is here with us. I welcome you. But let me welcome all of you, other development partners that are here, and those that are interested in the development and growth of the Southeast. So, Your Excellencies, I welcome all of you to this stakeholder session, roundtable if you like, with development partners in just barely 100 days of the inauguration of the board of the Southeast Development Commission. The focus of this engagement will be rebuilding the legacy of such great Southeast sons as Dr. Michael Okpara, whose plan emphasized the transformation of the Eastern region into the fastest growing regional economy through agricultural revolution, industrialization, infrastructural development, and economic growth. So what this current board and management are trying to do is to stand on that legacy and create a new era of growth for the Southeast. The assignment will be jointly carried out alongside all of you in this room. So welcome to the Southeast, a land of vibrant greens. Welcome to the Southeast, a land of brave and bold people. From the rolling hills to the coastal breeze, the Southeast whispers prosperity, and growth. I welcome all of you. But to formally welcome us this morning is the chairman of the board, former minister, Dr. Emeka Wogusiowen. As he's coming here, let me just also tell you, I'm not be doing this alone. My name is Ebere Young. Chiamaka is here. Uzo Amaka is here. And together, we'll anchor this.
Good morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We are in the Southeast. We are developing the Southeast. And it lies in your hands how we move it forward, because the land of the rising sun must feel the rays of the sunshine. Please, a round of applause for yourselves. With all due respect, permit me welcome the chairman of the board, our leader, our father, a man with depth, acumen, grace, one who is always willing to guide and guide aright, a former minister. Please join me welcome Chief Emeka Wogu. Please, a round of applause for him. He has just shown us that age is nothing but numbers.
The Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Carlo, CON, CFR, ably represented by Honorable Chris Nkwanta, who is the chairman of the House Committee on SEDC, and other members of the National Assembly here present, I welcome you. Honorable Minister of Rural Development, Honorable Abubakar Momo, who is a veteran in National Assembly. He was chairman of the Labour Committee when I was minister, so he has always been my boss. Mark Okoye, I call him Capacity MD and CEO of the Southeast Development Commission. I've seen the MD of the North Central Development Commission, and other members, other MDs and CEOs of other related commissions. LC Atafo, resident representative of UNDP, representative of the Director General of REA, Honorable Doris Ubo. I can see her down there. The executive and non-executive members of Southeast Development Commission, members of other development agencies and partners here present. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to warmly welcome you to this important high-level roundtable convened by the Southeast Development Commission, SEDC, and the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. This event marks the very first milestone in the partnership agreement signed by our two institutions in April of this year, a moment we consider historic. That agreement signaled UNDP's forward-thinking and timely support for Nigeria's new approach to sustainable development through regional development commissions. We deeply appreciate that show of confidence and commitment. Today, we are gathered here not just for dialogue, but for crucial conversations. As a newly established federal government commission, we understand that many of you, our distinguished development institutions, private sector partners, and government stakeholders may still be assessing how best to engage with us. This roundtable is precisely designed to open those doors and provide the clarity and confidence needed to move forward. Looking around the room today, I see familiar faces and institutions that have long championed development in Nigeria. I'm especially encouraged by the presence of our Honorable Minister of Rural Development, fellow regional development commissions, ministries and agencies, private sector leaders, and our development partners. Your presence gives me great hope that what begins here today will lay the foundation for a new model of cooperation between RDCs and international development communities. His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has outlined 8 priority areas under the Renewed Hope agenda. Oblige me to read them one after the other. Number 1, reform of the economy for sustained inclusive growth. Number 2, strengthening national security for peace and prosperity. Boosting agriculture to achieve food security. Unlocking, number 4, unlocking energy and natural resources for sustainable development. 5, enhancing infrastructure and transportation as enablers of growth. Number 6, focusing on education, health, and social investment as pillars of development. Accelerating, number 7, accelerating diversification through innovation. Number 8, improving governance for effective service delivery. The strategic framework we are presenting and discussing today is fully aligned with these national priorities. However, it also reflects the distinct realities and opportunities of the Southeast, our human capital, our entrepreneurial spirit, our needs, and our aspirations. So I invite you to settle in, sip your coffee, connect with one another, and above all, give us your time and your ideas, because what we build here today can redefine how we approach regional development, not just in the Southeast, but across the country, Nigeria. Thank you once again for honoring our invitation. I look forward to a fruitful and transformative engagement. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. As the chairman of the Southeast Development Commission steps down, can we usher him to his seat with a warm round of applause? Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'm very happy that you referred to His Excellency, the President, especially as it drives the Renewed Hope agenda. But one of the things he said in his last visit to the Southeast was the fact that the Southeast is absolutely integral to the development of Nigeria and therefore must be helped to grow and develop. That's why I thank all of you for being here and being part of history. Let's kick off our goodwill messages now as I welcome the representative of the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu. He's here as Chairman of the House Committee on the Southeast Development Commission. Honorable Chris Quanta is here with us. I welcome you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. My name is Honorable Chris Nkwanta, and I am the House Committee Chairman for Southeast Development Commission. I'm actually here in dual capacity to represent the Deputy Speaker, who is unavoidably absent. He's actually on his way to the US now on official assignment. And also here as the man from the National Assembly whose responsibility is to keep laser-focused attention on the SEDC in terms of how resources are utilized. For want of time, let me rest on protocols already established. It is with great honor and deep responsibility that I deliver these goodwill remarks on behalf of the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives at this crucial high-level event. I also do so in my capacity as the Chairman House Committee on SEDC. We are gathered here not just as stakeholders, but as partners in a collective journey to redefine the trajectory of the southeast of Nigeria. The theme of this engagement, rebuilding legacy, co-creating a new era of growth in the southeast, resonates very profoundly. It speaks to both our history and our shared aspirations for a region that has long been demonstrated as resilient, innovative, and has an unwavering commitment to progress, despite long-standing challenges. This roundtable provides us with a platform to deepen conversations, align our goals, and forge partnerships that will uplift our people and transform communities. Ladies and gentlemen, the Southeast is a region not without potential. It is one of Nigeria's most industrious zones. It is home to a population of over 29 million people, with a projection showing significant growth in the coming decades. Notably, more than 62% of this population is under the age of 30. This means that the Southeast holds one of the most youthful and vibrant populations in the country. It is a blessing that we must wisely harness. However, we must be honest about the hurdles. Infrastructure gaps, high youth unemployment, and the underutilization of key economic assets like the Abia Palm Plantation, the Akwete Weaving Center, etc., etc. Similarly, the region's infant mortality rate, though lower than the national average, remains unacceptably high. The poverty index across states in the region varies widely, showing the urgent need for targeted interventions and inclusive policies. This brings me to the vital role of the Southeast Development Commission. The Commission was created as another bureaucracy, but as a catalyst institution. Its role is to coordinate, drive strategic initiatives that reflect the needs and aspirations of the region. As chairman of the House Committee overseeing its activities, I want to assure everyone present that the National Assembly remains deeply committed to supporting the Commission's objectives. We will continue to advocate for adequate funding, legislative backing, and oversight mechanisms that ensure transparency and measurable impact. But the government alone cannot do it all. That is why we are deeply grateful to the United Nations Development Program, our co-convener, and to all our development partners present here today. We recognize the immense value you bring, not only in terms of financial support, but in expertise, policy coherence, and community engagement. As we move forward, let us transition from one-time interventions to long-term investments. Let us move forward. Let us transition from one intervention to long-term investment. Let us move from one fragmented effort to coordinated strategies. Let us go beyond aid to true alignment. In this regard, the Southeast is ripe for collaboration in several critical sectors: infrastructure, agriculture and agro-processing, technology and innovation, education and health. As we plan for the future, we must also preserve the past. The Southeast has a legacy of enterprise, community cooperation, and cultural richness. These values must be at the core of every development agenda. Rebuilding legacy is not only about bricks and mortar, it is about restoring dignity, hope, and opportunity. To our traditional leaders, the religious institutions, and civil society, your roles are indispensable. You are the moral compass of our communities. Your involvement ensures that our policies are rooted in the realities of the people. To our youth and women, you are not just beneficiaries of development, you are also agents of change. Your energy, innovation, and resilience must be recognized and empowered at every level of planning and implementation. To our international partners and private sector players, we are ready for you. The Southeast is open for business, investment, and joint ventures. Come, let us build together. In conclusion, let me reiterate, on behalf of the Deputy Speaker and the leadership of the National Assembly, that the Federal Legislature stands ready to support this new era of growth in the Southeast. Let us ensure that our legacy is not one of lamentation, but of leadership. Let us unite our strengths, harmonize our vision, and deliver results that will echo for generations to come. May this roundtable be a turning point. May it birth bold decisions and shared commitments. May it mark the beginning of Southeast that rises again, stronger and united. God bless the Southeast. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for the Deputy Speaker. Since he's wearing two hats, that of the Deputy Speaker and also the Chairman of the House Committee on SEDC, Honorable Chris Nkwanta. Please, could we give him a better round of applause? Thank you. Up next, for a goodwill message, please join me welcome the MDCO Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Abubakar Aliu, here represented by Engineer Doris Ubo, Executive Director, Rural Electrification Funds. Please, a round of applause. It is being said sometimes that when you want it said, send a man. If you want it done, send a woman. He sends the right gender. Another round of applause, please.
Thank you. Uh-oh. Sorry. Thank you. Honorable Minister for Rural Development, my brother, you're welcome to this occasion. And also let me recognize representative from UNDP, Madam LC, and the MD for SEDC. Permit me to stand on the already established protocol. My name is Honorable Engineer Doris Ubo. I am the ED Rural Electrification Fund from Rural Electrification Agency. I'm here to represent my MD, who is unavoidably absent, Abba Abubakar Aliu. So I'm equally wearing two hats. So on behalf of myself, let me first of all congratulate the MD for putting this together. And having been recognized by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that we need more effort in different zones. He has put this commission together and has put the right peg in the right hole. So my brother, I say congratulations. let me deliver the goodwill message, now my second hat, on behalf of my MD. Dear MD CEO of the Southeast Development Commission, Mr. Mark Okoye, it is a distinct honor to be here today at this high-level roundtable hosted by the SEDC in partnership with UNDP. I extend my sincere appreciation to you for convening such a timely and critical dialogue following our meeting in April 2025. This is with no doubt a dialogue that is deeply aligned with our collective aspirations for regional transformation and national progress under the renewed hope agenda. The theme of today's roundtable, Rebuilding Legacy, co-creating a new era of growth in the Southeast, is both evocative and catalytic. It calls us not only to reflect on the storied heritage of the Southeast, but to unite our strengths in charting a bold new course, one rooted in inclusive development, strategic investment, and sustainable infrastructure. At the Rural Electrification Agency, we view electrification not as a standalone goal, but as a means to unlock the vast socio-economic potential that lies across Nigeria, and indeed within the industrious heart of the Southeast. Through targeted programs, robust partnerships, and a deep commitment to innovation, the REA continues to serve as a key driver in Nigeria's infrastructure and economic development. The Southeast region has witnessed tangible footprints of our mission in action. In Anambra State, through the Energizing Economies Initiative EEI program, we have supported the electrification of Ariaria and Nnewi industrial clusters, powering micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, and by extension, livelihoods. In Enugu and Anambra states, solar hybrid mini-grids deployed under the Nigerian Electrification Project have brought reliable power to underserved communities, enhancing access to education, healthcare, and commercial activities. Interestingly, the REA has its footprints in every state in the Southeast. Across the region, tertiary institutions are benefiting from Energizing Education Program, with ongoing projects aimed at delivering clean, stable electricity to learning environments and strengthening the pipeline of young innovators, engineers, and leaders. In Ebonyi State, we have a 1 megawatt captive solar power plant powering Alex Ekweme Federal University, Ndufu Alike Ikwo. In Anambra, we have a solar power plant at Nnamdi Azikiwe University set for an overhaul under the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund. In Abia State, Michael Okpara Federal University of Agriculture, Umudike, boasts of a 3 megawatt power plant under phase 2 of the EEP, which will be commissioning very soon. I'm sure you'll be invited to witness this program. In Imo State, construction is underway to deliver 8.2 megawatt solar power plant at the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, under also the phase 3 of the EEP. And last but not the least, the prestigious University of Nigeria, Nsukka in Enugu State was not left out. It has been earmarked for the phase 4 of the EEP program. So you can see that in REA, we take the Southeast very seriously. Also in the Rural Electrification Fund, as part of the REA, projects under RevCall 2 and RevCall 3, we have deployed mini-grids of at least 100 kilowatts capacity to Bende local government in Abia State, to Nnome community in Enugu State, to other various communities in Anambra State and Imo State. We also have Some solar home systems recently deployed to Ebonyi State, Abia State, Anambra State, and also Imo State, respectively. These are intentional projects designed to catalyze the rural communities, enabling these communities to be self-reliant and unlocking their potentials to grow their informal economy. Therefore, our goal is to impact on 5 critical sectors that are essential for economic growth in this rural area. And we came up with a project that is in line with the President's Renew Hope agenda, a project called the eHeart Project. This project is emphasizing key sectors that really has a play in catalyzing the lives of those in the rural communities. They are the health sector, education sector, agric, rural community itself, and transportation via e-mobility, hence the acronym eHeart. Therefore, we are partnering with the subnationals as stipulated in the Electricity Act of 2023. We have designed this state engagement program to engender sustainability development in every facet of our economy, emphasizing on the rural communities. These interventions, among others, reflect our unwavering belief in power as a catalyst for agro-industrial development, for youth empowerment, and for building climate-resilient economies capable of thriving in rapidly evolving global landscape. As Nigeria marches forward under the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, we are committed to deepening our role in delivering energy solutions that serve as bedrock for industrialization, digital innovation, and regional competitiveness. But let us be clear. The scale of the ambition before us cannot be realized by government alone. It demands that we co-create, that we collaborate, and that we invest collectively. Development partners such as UNDP, financial institutions such as AFDB, to name a few, the private sector and regional bodies are to collaborate to accelerate shared prosperity in the Southeast. Today's convening is therefore more than symbolic. It is a call to coordinate action. Together we have an opportunity to ignite a new era, one where every rural community is lit, every young entrepreneur is enabled, and every legacy of resilience is met with a future of transformation. The REA stands ready to play its part and more in this historic journey. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we wish you good deliberation for this August occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I love the part where you say you stand with the Southeast Development Commission as they develop the region. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is in a position to be called the father of all the development commissions. To him, he believes that a leader must empower, a leader must motivate, a leader must provide a shared vision. And that's what he's doing to all of the 7 development commissions. We're very happy to have him here to stand up now and declare open this engagement and roundtable meeting. I'd like to welcome here the Honorable Minister for Regional Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo.
the representative of the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, who is also the Chairman of the House Committee on Southeast Development Commission, Chairman and Managing Director of the Southeast Development Commission. Let me also recognize the representative of the UNDP and all other development partners that are here present. Also to be recognized are the executive directors and members of Southeast Development Commission and all other Development Commission members that are here. I say welcome to all of you. I feel highly delighted to welcome all of you to this very high-level roundtable, which was co-sponsored by the Southeast Development Commission and the UNDP. In fact, when I got the invitation that this event was going to take place today, the first remark I made before the MD is, how is he sure that truly the event is going to hold, in view of the fact that previous arrangements to this very event was not fulfilled. But having seen the galaxy of personalities here today, the participants in particular, I feel to wait this long, worth it. So I commend the effort of the Southeast Development Commission and UNDP for being able to pull all this caliber of persons here together this morning for the purpose of this very roundtable talk. Let me say that the theme of today's conference, which is rebuilding legacy, co-creating a new era of growth in Southeast, is very timely, bold, and fully aligned with the vision of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the Regional Development Commissions and the 8 presidential priorities of the Renew Hope agenda. For example, the 5 priorities area, such as priority 1, 5, 7, and 8, they are completely in alignment what we are doing here today. And for instance, priority 1 refers to reform the economy for sustained inclusive growth, empowering small businesses in the Southeast, fuels grassroots enterprise, and widens economic participation. And 5, that's priority 5 of the presidential priority, talks of enhancing infrastructure and transportation as enablers of growth. For instance, investment in roads, mass transit, and transport logistics via Southeast Development Commission directly aligned with legacy-focused regional infrastructure. Priority 6 has to do with focus on education, health and social investment, technical training and social empowerment initiatives, e.g., funding for women and indigenous families, support human capital in the Southeast region. Then priority 7 talks of accelerate diversification through industrialization, digitization, creative arts, manufacturing, and innovation. Southeast innovation programs were aware, such as youth empowerment and entrepreneurship ventures, capital to accelerate RCT and manufacturing growth locally. All these are designed to ensure that the vulnerable in the Southeast are well taken care of. Then the priority 8 has to do with improved governance for effective service delivery. The creation of the Southeast Development Commission is a prime example of decentralizing service delivery and boosting transparency in regional governance. At our recent retreat in Lagos, where all the commissions were represented, we emphasize the urgency of strategic partnerships, innovation and collaboration in driving inclusive development and bringing the Renew Hope agenda closer to the grassroots. In fact, what we are witnessing here today is in tandem with what we discussed. Therefore, the Southeast is really answering the call with commendable energy and clarity of purpose. This roundtable is not just a conversation, it is a launchpad for action. It offers us a valuable opportunity to deepen our shared understanding and forge stronger collaboration between the regional development commissions and esteemed development partners. Let me also, at this juncture, take a moment to recognize and appreciate the consistent and transformative contributions of our development partners across the entire country. Your work in supporting government at all levels has accelerated development, from infrastructure, governance reform, climate adaptation, human capital development, down to social inclusion. Your continued support is deeply valued, especially under this administration. I would also want to urge you to extend the kind of cooperation and partnership you have already sustained with Southeast Development Commission to other development commissions that have just been established. You are aware that there are about 5 new development commissions, of which Southeast is one of them. As we turn our attention specifically to the Southeast, we see a region rich in talent, resilience, and enterprise. But it is also a region that faces unique development challenges. The Southeast Development Commission is charged with addressing these deeply rooted challenges, and I must say the working moving forward will need all our collective support. We must work together to address issues such as industrialization, infrastructural deficits, youth unemployment, and social cohesion. Our focus must remain inclusive, ensuring that women, youth, and vulnerable groups are not left behind in our pursuit of shared prosperity. I have no doubt in mind that with the caliber of persons that have been appointed to man the Southeast Development Commission, particularly with the managing director, a very young, articulate, and dynamic man, I have no doubt in mind that Southeast Development Commission will excel in all fields of endeavors as far as the Development Commission is concerned. And I'm also happy to note that the directors, particularly the executive directors, the chairman of the commission, these are all tested personalities. I think this is one commission I can say that Mr. President carefully selected the members, and I have no doubt in mind that they will definitely show the light to other commissions. In that spirit, today marks a key step in building a coordinated and accountable framework for sustainable development. The Ministry of Regional Development is committed to supporting mechanisms that ensure measurable results, policy cohesion, and transparent reporting across all partnerships. On behalf of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and the Federal Ministry of Regional Development, I assure you of our unwavering support. Together, we can co-create a future that truly reflects the aspirations of Southeast and indeed the entire region. Having said this, I can now say that it is time to get the entire exercise started by declaring open this roundtable. I want to urge you to have meaningful development so that the Southeast will of course, in a very short time, be placed on international map, because it is a region that is desirous to move very fast. It's a region that in the past have been deprived. And I think with this very opportunity, I have no doubt in mind that not only those of you who are here or in Nigeria, those in diaspora, I wish to call on them too, to also partner with the Southeast Development Commission to make sure that that region, of course, take its pride of place in the committee of the states in Nigeria. Because if you take a look at Southeast, it's going to be, if properly, all that are there are properly harnessed, is going to be the channel of Nigeria. I'm sure we are looking forward to a very short time where we begin to look at that area as one area that we begin to ask ourselves, why is it that for such a long time we have not focused attention on this? I think with this, we have to commend and thank the President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because I have a feeling that for other development commissions to spring up is as a result of the need to have a commission in the Southeast Development Commission. So for you, those of you who are operating this commission, you should know that it is in a bid to make sure that the Southeast has its own commission, that all other commissions now spring up. Therefore, you must show the light. You must show the way forward. So once again, I have to thank you for being able to put this program in place, and I wish you meaningful deliberations. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for the Honorable Minister, please. He has validated the choice of the wise men from the East leading the commission. He has also charged that it is time to get to work. Please, another round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo. One of the things the Honorable Minister did raise was the importance of veritable partnerships. And when we talk about veritable partnerships, we're talking about development partners, CSOs, but in this case specifically, the UNDP. The next voice that you're going to hear from here will be a team lead who started just as an intern in 2001 for the UNDP in New York. She has risen across the ranks, broken records, driven innovation, driven development, and is now the resident representative of the UNDP here in Nigeria. Please join me welcome a woman of purpose, a leader par excellence, one who looks more like a Nigerian than a Ghanaian. Please join me welcome Elsie Atafua. As I give her a hand, please give her a round of applause.
I came in my Akwete from Southeast, so I deserve another round of applause. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, Engineer Abubakar Momo, Honorable Minister of Regional Development, let me also recognize the representative of the Deputy Speaker. Let me recognize all distinguished members of the National Assembly who are here. My very own good brother and friend, Mark Okoye, Managing Director. Let me recognize him, as well as the esteemed board and executive management of the Southeast Development Commission. Let me welcome all our respected development partners, some of whom are following online because this is also live streamed. Captains of industry, leaders of organized private sector, youth innovators, visionaries. Let me stand on the existing protocols and let me say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Are we in the afternoon now? We are still in morning. Okay. It is a privilege and honor to welcome you to this historic high-level roundtable, a forum that brings us together not only to reflect, but to act boldly and collaboratively in shaping a prosperous, inclusive future for Nigeria's Southeast region, and indeed, by extension, Nigeria and Africa as a whole. Let me begin by recognizing and applauding the federal government, and the visionary leadership of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the bold commitment to regionally driven development. The establishment of the Ministry of Regional Development and the Southeast Development Commission, after over 5 decades of national advocacy for SEDC, marks a pivotal milestone. It is a profound affirmation that this administration is listening and, more importantly, acting to restructure Nigeria's development architecture in ways that reflect the unique assets, challenges, and aspirations of the diverse regions. Today, we stand at a turning point, not just for Southeast, but for Nigeria as a whole. Across the world, countries are recalibrating their economic pathways in response to climate shocks, digital disruptions, and growing demands for equity and inclusion. Nigeria is no exception. But in these disruptions lie great opportunities, and the Southeast, with its entrepreneurial spirit, industrious people, and vibrant diaspora, is uniquely poised to lead, as His Excellency the Honorable Minister said. Honorable Minister, Excellencies, as we reflect on our current trajectory, we must confront the dual reality of Nigeria's immense potential and its pressing development challenges. Despite being Africa's largest economy, 40% of Nigerians live in multidimensional poverty, and over 50% in several states across the Federation are unemployed or underemployed. Subnational governments remain overly dependent on federal allocations, with over 16 states relying for more than 70% of their revenue from the federal government. This limits the capacity for innovation and long-term planning. And yet, amidst these challenges, we find proof that transformation is possible. Lagos, for instance, through a decisive focus on commerce, infrastructure, and innovation, has become a model for economic independence and competitiveness. So too has the Western Cape of South Africa. And talking about Western Cape, Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, a few months ago, I was there and we met with the Premier. And when the Premier opened the meeting that UNDP representatives were attending, he said the previous night they had 19 activities related to tourism in Cape Town. And one of the activities, which I found very interesting, and I know this is a bit of an aside, he said even the switching on of the Christmas light was part of that. Now, what am I saying? Different regions are using different pathways and instruments, including tourism, for their growth. And we see that, for example, in Western Cape a lot. Ethiopia's Oromia region, again, is leveraging a lot of opportunities to grow the region. So regional approaches are indeed fueling structural change and inclusive growth. So the lesson is clear. When subnational actors are empowered and aligned with national vision, development at scale becomes not just feasible, but inevitable. So let me talk a bit about the Southeast advantage, its legacy, its talent, its tenacity, as an opportunity for Nigeria and indeed for Africa. The Southeast of Nigeria is uniquely positioned as a strategic hub for enterprise development and investment, with a historic and proven model of wealth creation through its indigenous apprenticeship system, arguably one of the largest informal venture incubation systems in the world. This region So just so to remind colleagues that I'm speaking around the subject around mobilizing development financing for transformation of the Southeast. And what I'm trying to do is to build the foundation, before we talk about the financing, to build the foundation of where we are coming from, and so that I can tie the conversations together. This region has nurtured a thriving entrepreneurial culture, producing one of the highest concentrations of high net worth individuals in the country, many of whom build their wealth through scalable trade, manufacturing, and service-based ventures. The foundation of this growth lies in deeply rooted community structures that emphasize innovation, creativity, mentorship, reinvestment, and apprenticeship. This therefore presents a compelling opportunity to reimagine development financing by blending traditional wealth generating systems with formal capital markets and impact investment models. Each of the 5 states within the Southeast contributes distinct strengths to the region's value proposition. Abia, with Aba as its commercial capital, remains Nigeria's heartbeat of indigenous manufacturing, home to thousands of small-scale producers in garments, in leather, and fabrication. Enugu stands out as an education and administrative center, hosting the University of Nigeria in Nsukka and attracting significant diaspora remittances and intellectual capital. Anambra is the industrial and commercial engine of the region, housing Newi's manufacturing base, Onitsha's dynamic market ecosystem, and globally influential diaspora network that continuously reinvests in local businesses, infrastructure, and innovation. Imo State, with Owerri as a fast-growing urban infrastructure, urban center boasting a robust service sector, multiple tertiary institutions, and emerging tech and hospitality clusters. Ebonyi is fast becoming a frontier state for agribusiness and solid mineral investment, with ongoing infrastructure upgrades positioning it as a gateway to deeper regional integration. To truly unleash the region's immense potential, we must boldly bridge the development finance gap. Look around, and you will see the region is rich with incredible assets, real estate, entrepreneurial spirit to its abundant natural resources. These are opportunities waiting for the right kind of investment, especially through structured public-private partnerships to become powerful engines of growth and impact. This is precisely where UNDP steps in. We don't just offer technical advice. We work with you to design strategies that bring together smart public policy, private sector co-investment, clever ways to reduce investment risk. Our goal is simple: to attract significant capital and to ensure it's invested with purpose. In Nigeria, consider UNDP as your strong partner of choice in this journey. We are intensifying our efforts to stand shoulder to shoulder with Nigeria, helping to draw in vital investments through key initiatives. For instance, we are soon launching a groundbreaking effort to establish a national taxonomy framework, which will be the 3rd in Africa after Rwanda and South Africa. This framework will help to categorize and showcase investment opportunities as green or social, intended to make it easier for both local and international capital to find and flow into right places. Think about it. Global investors, particularly from Europe, are increasingly looking for green initiatives. This framework will help us speak their language and attract the capital directly to Nigeria's incredible opportunities. Attracting investment is not just about bringing in capital. It is also about protecting it and protecting the people it's meant to serve. That's why we are proactively addressing risk, especially from the increasing challenges of climate change. We are embedding robust insurance solutions to shield state-level investments from new factories to vital roads against devastating events like flood, droughts, and natural disasters. You will see a case in point with the launch of a pioneering Lagos State flood insurance product. This groundbreaking initiative will directly protect the lives and livelihoods of 4 million vulnerable people in Lagos from the impact of floods. This initiative model, proven to shield people, can and will be expanded to cover critical infrastructure and key investments across the region, ensuring that our progress is resilient and truly built to last, even when nature shows its challenges our way. At the heart of sustainable regional development is the power of strong partnerships with national, regional, and global financial institutions. Institutions like development banks hold vast assets and a commitment to long-term impact, but they are constantly seeking innovative, truly bankable ideas to deploy that capital effectively. Our role is to be the bridge, connecting these powerful financial players with the transformative projects that Nigeria's regions offer, ensuring their resources find a home where they can make the biggest difference. This roundtable is therefore not just an ordinary meeting, it is a pivot point. With the launch of the SEDC's strategic roadmap, we have the chance to reimagine the region as a powerhouse of industry, a hub of innovation, and a magnet for inclusive investment. The region's Thank you. The region's high literacy levels, backed by a dense network of universities, polytechnics, and research institutions, stand as a steady incubator of talent. This, linked to a patriotic and civic-minded diaspora and a strong cultural ethic of self-reliance, positions it as an ideal testing ground for innovative financing mechanisms, including diaspora bonds, cooperative investment platform, and community development trust. Let me just say a few words in the interest of time to say that we are proud to walk this journey with SEDC and with our brother Mark and the entire management. We've signed a landmark memorandum of understanding that focuses on 3 phases. Phase 1 on readiness, where we are convening, we are coordinating, we are building partnerships, we are visioning together. We are looking for some quick wins as well. So it's a readiness phase. The second phase is implementation and acceleration, driving catalytic initiatives in infrastructure, clean energy, digital economy, industry, trade, and institutionalization, which is the third phase, embedding delivery system, data platforms, and partnerships that can scale and sustain impact. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, I should also say that UNDP's work to support SEDC is also anchored on what we are calling our Integrated Smart States Program for Accelerated Development. And this program has just 4 elements very quickly. One is on innovation, digitalization, and the knowledge economy. And here we are investing in innovation systems, digital public infrastructure, tech talent, thought leadership. And next week already, I will be in Abia with Governor Oti, where we will be having an open day, where we have established a university pod, where you go into the University of Michael Okpara University, where young students can be able to enter that place and tell themselves, where can I turn my ideas into prototypes, and they'll find that space. Where can I turn my prototypes into businesses, and they'll find that space. And when can I turn my business into an industry, that space is available. And so we are doing this hopefully in 36 states, in 36 months, and 36 uniports. So that's our moonshot, and Southeast is one of those places that we are boldly starting. We also have an initiative on clean energy. We call the Nigeria Integrated Clean Energy, NICE. And here again, we are working with the Rural Electrification Authority, African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and other partners for us to be able to industrialize or to do anything that would take our development agenda forward. We need the power of energy to be able to drive that industrialization. Trade, again, investment and financing is a big thing for us. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, 1.4 billion people in Africa, but only Africa trades amongst itself only 16%. And yet we have a 1.4 billion market. We're asking ourselves, how can we take the produce in Aba to the people of Africa? And that's where we are, and that's what we are pushing forward. And finally, we are also looking at accelerated community development, that in the midst of prosperity and wealth, we still have inequality and poverty, and therefore how do we accelerate community development in a fast way in fragile environment and underserved areas. So these are some of the things that we are doing, and we are working very boldly with the Southeast Commission to be able to do that. Now I'm trying to wrap up because I see I must have gone a bit over time, to say that as I conclude, we need to look at possibility to progress. And as we build legacy and co-create a new era of growth for Southeast, let us remember development is not an event. It is a journey. As we embark on this journey, let us tap into the region's social capital, innovation, entrepreneurial energy, and dense trade routes, as these offer an incredible pathway to catalyze inclusive economic transformation, not just for Southeast, but for Nigeria as a whole. And I'm glad the other regional commissions are also here. This journey will demand purpose-oriented partnerships, persistence, and foresight. Let us therefore seize this opportunity to position Southeast as a model of regionally led development. Let us commit to investing not only in projects, but in people, in institutions, and in the future we want to build. And let us together rise to the challenge to think transformation, not transaction, to think legacy, not just logistics, to think generations, not just gross domestic product. While we are spotlighting the Southeast region, there's an opportunity to drive shared learning, foster cross-regional collaboration, and unlock Nigeria's full potential from the ground up. This meeting offers a collective moment to champion inclusive growth through context-specific solutions and catalytic partnerships. On behalf of the United Nations Development Program, and by extension our United Nations family in Nigeria, I thank you for your continued partnership, your visionary leadership, your commitment to Nigeria's transformation. The time is now. Let us build the Nigeria we want, because we know they carry last, they carry first, in fact. Thank you.
This daughter of Ghana must be a Nigerian. Amazing. In fact, saying the unique things about all the Southeast states, we must find a committee to give her a Nigerian name. Let's put our hands together for her one more time. Amazing. I love the line, not legacy, but legacy, building legacy, and not logistics. Thank you very much. Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to also recognize and welcome the representatives of the Development Bank of Nigeria and the Nigeria Export Processing Zone Authority that are all here. I welcome all of you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister alluded to this when he was speaking and talking about the Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Southeast Development Commission. He made it clear that the energy of youth, the vibrancy of youth, is what the young man is using to drive it. But I keep on saying that he's also a man that is coming from a legacy of public service in his family. At 28, the father became a commissioner. At 28, the young man also became a commissioner. It is being said that no development is possible or no nation building is possible if we don't have the dreams, the ambition, the vibrancy of the youth. We're very happy to have here the Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Southeast Development Commission. I'd like to welcome here Mr. Mark Okoye. Well, as he's coming, let me quickly welcome here the Vice Chairman, House Committee on Southeast Development Commission, Honorable Professor Paul Namchi.
The Honorable Minister, Senator, Engineer Abubakar Momo, the Minister for Regional Development, our father in the ministry, and the game-changing and ever-performing Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, CFR, the Deputy Speaker, here represented by our own brother, the Chairman, House Committee on SEDC, Honorable Chris Nkwanta. My capacity chairman, the former Minister of Labor, Chief Dr. Emeka Nwogu, and other members of the Southeast Development Board, my executive directors here present, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, represented by Dr. Kenneth Uje, the Minister of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, here represented by Abdul Kwali Bello, the Chief Legal Officer and the Company Secretary, the Nigerian Export Processing Zone Authority, represented by Mrs. Chika Ebekwe, the Director in charge of Investment Promotion, the Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, represented by Engineer Doris Ubo, the British High Commission and FCDO, represented by David Okago, the head subnational team, the African Development Bank, represented by Mr. Peter Onyabo, the Bank of Industry, represented by the General Manager, Obaro Osa, the Development Bank of Nigeria, represented by the Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Ijoma Ozuluba, the Islamic Development Bank, represented by Obioma Asuzu, United Bank of Africa, represented by my good friend, the Executive Director, Alex Alozie, Zenith Bank, represented by Carl, and GT Bank, represented by the Executive Director, Ahmed Liman, and other banks here present. Representatives of the private sector, Alternative Bank, and everybody. And obviously, our host, our co-host, the United Nations Development Program, my big sister, Madam Elsie, the resident rep of the United Nations Development Program in Nigeria. Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I woke up today and I made two prayers. One is for God to give me good health, which I believe I'm standing on my 2 feet, so I think so far so good, I have that. But the second is not to come after Madam Elsie. This is very, very difficult to come after Madam Elsie. So I usually like to give my speech and I run away and hide, then I enjoy hers. So it's a huge, huge responsibility to take this. But thank you for the fascinating speech, thank you for the partnership. I'd like to start by appreciating Mr. President. And what he's done for the Southeast is by no means a small feat, because since the end of the Nigerian Civil War in 1970, the 3 R's was supposed to be done and implemented through some platform in government, which we had hoped would be the Eastern Development Commission at the time. But since then, in 54 years, after 7 military dictators, military heads of state, and 5 democratically elected presidents, no one was able to do this until President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he did it in 1 year. Not only did he do it, he gave us a team that is capable, that has the capacity. So when you see me as MD, and you think I have the energy and I have the ideas, I can't do it without a very powerful team. My executive directors who are sitting on the second row to my left, about 5 of them. And obviously with the board supporting us. So we have enormous appreciation on behalf of the Southeast for Mr. President. And the only way we can pay him back is by ensuring that we leverage this platform to build a prosperous region in the Southeast that creates enormous economic opportunities, not just for the residents there, but for well-meaning Nigerians and people around the world, to see the Southeast as a destination that they can visit, they can go enjoy, learn, work, relax, invest, and be prosperous and be merry. Secondly, is to also appreciate UNDP for the support. Typically, we were at the offices 4 days after we were inaugurated by the Honorable Minister. Between then and the next 42 days, we signed the MOU that's then crystallized with this event as a takeoff point and a number of other initiatives that we will do with them. Some of which she has mentioned, but we have set a target internally for ourselves that we want to launch the Southeast Regional Development Plan before December this year. And I think that's ambitious, but I think we can do it. And then a number of the other things that we want to work on together. But last on the appreciation is to also enormous appreciation for the minister. Our minister, as soon as we were done with our inauguration, I think 11 or 15 days after he inaugurated us and the Northwest Development Commission, and charged us to ensure we focus on delivering dividends of democracy for Nigerians, leveraging our platforms. And ever since then, he's been ever so supportive. Anytime we need to see him, his advice, it takes us a minute of sitting in his office and already we get his audience. He also did a retreat where we were able to discuss issues around coordination, around defining the vision for development commissions, and he sat there for the entire 3 days. So when I say he's a capacity and a hardworking minister, this is from internally. We've worked with a number of other ministers over the years. There's something very special about our honorable minister, and I say thank you once more, sir. So my job is quite simple, because I think we've done an extensive process of engaging multiple stakeholders over the last, I would say, 130, 140 days. Why are we doing this? The reason why we do this is because we want to secure buy-in into the programs and projects that we hope to implement. We also want to have shared successes with our sister MDAs. You have REA sitting here. Why would our agency in the Southeast, as we are building, say, an innovation hub, and that innovation hub requires a 200 kilowatt power solar IPP. We may have the budget for it, but why not work closely with REA and then pool resources so that we can scale and do a lot more? And that way, when the minister or Mr. President comes to commission it, they're seeing shared successes in alignment of the implementation of the Renewed Hope agenda. That's what we hope to do. We've been to over 30 MDAs, starting from our minister. We've been to the National Assembly. The strong support we're getting from the Development Commission and from the SEDC committees to get everyone to buy into one shared vision. We've gone around our governors, working closely with all our 5 governors, presenting our plans to them, getting them to buy in. We've sat with the organized private sector. We've done virtual sessions online where over 3,000 people joined in to ask questions for over 7 hours around the plans and how we want to proceed and getting their buy-in. We can't do it alone. We're administrators, we're policy formulators, we're policy makers, but we require the buy-in from the public. We've sat with the organized private sector, Manufacturers Association, the National SMEs Association, and the Chambers of Commerce of 10 critical cities in the Southeast, listening to them for about 7 hours, hearing what are the critical issues. Because even in the Southeast, there are roughly about 8.3 million jobs. But of the 8.3 million jobs, the governments only create roughly about 150,000 of those jobs. The private sector does the remainder 8 million. So why, for us, we need to hear from them to understand what are the pain points that we must address to ensure we come up with a plan and a program that satisfies their interests and creates an enabling environment for them to do a lot more. So for us in the Southeast, our vision is clear. We want to be the preferred investment destination of choice in Nigeria in 5 years. It's ambitious, but we believe that it's possible because when we look at history, history tells us that if we could do it in the 60s, when there was no social media, when there was no internet, when education had not evolved, more so now when we have resources both home and abroad, and we can pull all these resources together for the development of the Southeast for a prosperous Nigeria. So for us, it's a very razor-sharp vision. Now that vision is cascaded down into 4 strategic objectives. Number 1 is to grow our economy from $40 billion to $200 billion in 10 years, working closely with our development partners, our state governors, the organized private sector, the CSOs, and the academia, with interventions in 4 critical areas. Number 1 is agriculture. Number 2 is industrialization. Number 3 is creative economy and tourism. The second strategic objective for us at the SEDC is to drive and develop high-impact major infrastructure projects, region-wide infrastructure projects, and get these projects bankable. When we say bankable, and the reason why we want to get them bankable is, for example, you have a gas pipeline project, or you have a power project, or you have a new regional highway. Typically, if we said we want to finance this from the budget, what you see is that perhaps, depending on the revenues that come in, we could end up doing this project for the next 10 to 15 years. However, if we spend a little bit of resources, ensure we get it bankable, do the feasibility studies, do the outline business cases, get it to the point where the private sector can see opportunities for them and how they can get their return on investment, just maybe we can secure financing for such projects. So we'll be spending resources to ensure we get our projects bankable. Number 3 is we see the region as a one-region economy. There are 5 states in that region, but those 5 states aggregated can fit into at least 3 or 4 states in Nigeria. You can leave Ebonyi and touch all the capitals in the region in 7 hours and be back in Ebonyi. There's no other region that can boast of this. That in itself should be a strength. So what we want to do in this area is to achieve the one region, one market economy, is that we want to work closely with our state governments to ensure that the business environment is consistent and progressive and the same across all the 5 states. Issues around registering a business, resolving business conflicts, paying your taxes, making your investments, acquiring land for investment, for production, all of these things should seem similar, irrespective of the state you're in the Southeast. And then the last bit, obviously, is given the volatility in revenue as a result of oil prices. Obviously, Mr. President and the federal government is doing enormous work to diversify Nigeria's economy. But as we speak now, it's still heavily dependent on oil prices. So for us at the Southeast Development Commission, the question is, how can we have certainty on the resources that come in to ensure we can plan properly? So in that regard, we want to set up an investment portfolio that targets to hit an audacious amount of $1 billion in 10 years through the Southeast Investment Company to ensure that that then provides that buffer and the returns on that portfolio can cover at least 80% of the running costs of SEDC in 8 to 10 years' time, such that anything coming from the federal government then it covers the remainder 20%, as the case may be. For us, we have, and in that time, and over the last 100 days, I would say, we have come up with a number of priority programs, which are in the documents and also on the wall, where you have what next. But I would like to spotlight 2 or 3 of them. Because what we did there, we tried to bring some innovation. And some of the gentlemen and women who served on that committee are here. Number 1 is the Southeast Investment Company. It's one thing to have that idea, to set up an entity that can help us aggregate resources, aggregate long-term capital, bring in capital from the diaspora, because they can also buy shares, you can do so many creative, innovative financing initiatives here. So what did we do as we were setting up, given that we're still going through the early stages? At the SEDC, we set up a call for people who can volunteer and provide their technical expertise. The first day we announced it, 100 people applied and said they want to support. But many people online were criticizing us, actually. Said, how can a government agency that has billions in their budget be asking people to come and work for free? The next day, we took some people from that database and we announced a committee of experts from around the world to help us think through the feasibility and the concept note of what the Southeast Investment Company should look like. How can we set it up? What's the best way to structure it such that the diasporans, the capital markets will find it enticing and see opportunities and then support it? All of these people served for 4 weeks, pro bono, and in 4 weeks they were able to develop a fantastic document. So, Mr. Honorable Minister and the members in the audience, we did this for 3 committees. One is the Southeast Investment Company. The second one is the Southeast Venture Capital Fund, and I'll explain what we're doing in those areas. And then the third was the Southeast Grassroots Recreation Infrastructure Development Program. We had about 27 experts served for free for about 4.5 weeks. And as soon as we announced those names, the database of volunteers have grown from about 1,000 to 3,742. There are people who are in New York working at Goldman Sachs. There are people who are working in Aba, who are traders. There are people who work in the hospitals in Kano. There are people who are major players in the law, in the legal space in Beijing, who are saying they want to see how they can support the SEDC pro bono. So for us, this is some of the innovation to unlock that energy in Nigerians who say, we want a better Nigeria. Let's give you the opportunity to do so. So I say a big thank you to them. And I believe that the chairmen of those committees, chairpersons of those committees will be speaking shortly after me to say a few things around what they're doing. So for us, we have broadly 7 to 8 programs. But generally, the overarching underlying vision or objective, or philosophy, I would say, driving how we are thinking about our programs is how do we de-risk all these key sectors for private sector, for private sector involvement to come in and grow those sectors. So starting with security, that's our first program that we're looking to achieve. It's a Southeast Security Intervention Program. We know the governors are our CSOs, Chief Security Officers of the region. But if we want to truly achieve a one-market economy in the Southeast, we have to have the policies around security and securing lives and property also have to be consistent, but it also has to be effective. So our role is to see how we support them, but also ensure what is one state doing that is great and is yielding the right outcomes and the right impact. How can we replicate it in other states, working closely with them from a data-driven standpoint? That's one. Number two is the Southeast Agro-Mechanization Program. We saw the amazing work done by Emma Akpara in the 60s. But it's also sad that since then, there hasn't been such an ambitious intervention in agriculture. It's always been about the 1 youth, 1 hectare, 1 youth, 1 hectare initiative. What we're trying to do here is to take agriculture from being almost a poverty reduction initiative to a wealth creation initiative that drives industrialization and then creates jobs for our people. So we want to, so here we want to develop 50,000 hectares of land over the next 4 to 5 years and do it in such a way where we're working closely with the communities, the state governments, the landowners, to ensure that once we're done, if a Tolerance or a Dangote or an EMSO wants to go ahead and invest in agriculture, it probably takes them only 2 to 3 weeks. You go there, you lease 400 hectares of land, you move to site. Because in our past life, what we realized, the data suggests that for every 1 billion naira of investment in agriculture in the Southeast, 70% of that amount goes into acquiring the land, developing the land, building the roads to the land, sinking the boreholes, clearing the land, drawing an 11 kVA power line to that site, building housing developments around for the expatriates or what have you that may be working there. Only about 20% or 25% is actually invested in crop production and processing. You can never be competitive in agriculture if this is the economics of how you're investing. So for us, our job is that 70% as SEDC. How can we de-risk it so that the private sector can come and use their money for what is required in the region in agriculture? Number two is the Southeast Industrialization, Regional Industrialization Program. And what do we want to achieve there? As we speak, we've surveyed the region. There are 5 major special economic zone, free trade zone initiatives that are going on in the Southeast. Anambra has the Anambra Mixed Use Industrial City Project. Enugu has the Enugu New City Project. Abia has the Abia Integrated Industrial Project. Ebonyi has the Ebonyi Special Agro Processing Zone. Imo has the Oil and Gas Free Trade Zone. I'm a statesman. I learned governance from the state level. A lot of this, so I'm quite familiar, and we are quite familiar with all these projects. But a lot of these projects have been packaged well. The master plans are nice. The projects are nice. They look good. They would yield enormous return. However, they're still sitting on shelves. So for us at the SEDC, we say, how do we catalyze those projects? Because this is a region where for everybody who's from the Southeast or who has even visited the Southeast, you will testify that in almost every village, there is some guy or lady who is so proud, has done well elsewhere, and has come back and set up a factory in that village, but having to do all of these things themselves. So for us, we want to take those industrial parks, aggregate our resources for infrastructure, and channel it into those industrial parks, and create access, open it up, so that people can come, people from the region, people from outside the region, international companies, can come and set up in industrial parks that have shared services, thereby fast-tracking our implementation and integration and readiness for African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, so we can start exporting to the rest of the world. The fourth program is the Renewed Hope Housing and Market Development Program. For many, they know it as the Renewed Hope Housing Program, but we're domesticating it for the Southeast. We know that you can't do housing alone. And what we want to stay away from is building sites and services. We want to do more of deploying units to the markets, creating assets, products that we can sell to our diasporans. That way, when they're not there, you can put those houses on Airbnb and do all sorts of interesting things. But to also get those things bankable, we also want to build new markets, working closely with the state governors. So a lot of sensitization is going on behind the scene to ensure that all of these things are prepared. The fourth program is the Southeast Venture Capital Program. I think they'll speak to it. But here, we believe that innovation is a huge contributor to GDP as it stands today, but a bigger contributor to GDP for some of the frontier countries and emerging nations. So we believe that we have the human capital, but we want to give that young man or woman hope in the Southeast that if you have innovation, you can get $10,000, you can get $5,000 to take that innovation from an idea to a startup, and from a startup to a thriving business. So that's why we've put some experts to think through that for us, and we will be deliberately investing in that space. Sports is very critical to us because historically the region has contributed its fair share. Some of what you even see in the restive views, if you had sports infrastructure and a thriving sports ecosystem, many of them may not be in the region today. They may be in the Premiership playing today. Because the truth is, many of them is the same physical attributes that their friends and brothers and cousins who happened to have jackpot many years ago to UK, that their kids are going through the system and making it in those big leagues. So we want to see how we can build a sports economy from ground up, working closely with the state governments, working closely with the private sector. And last but not the least is our youth entrepreneurship program, where we'll be looking intricately at the IBA Boy program. How can we support it? How can we amplify it? How can we modernize it? Working closely with our state governments. These are critical areas that will be very impactful for the states, for the region. And last but not the least is the MI Opera, because at the end of the day, you may have all the ideas, but if you don't, they call it people, processes, and platforms, right? But in all of that, the people is the most important when you think of systemic change. Ultimately, we need to groom our best and brightest people who will come into civil and public service and be the future of the region to drive and ensure they implement these master plans over the next few years. So under the Michael Okpara program, we'll be taking in young men and young women who will come in and work with us for 1 year at the commission. We'll entrench them in policy formulation, policy implementation, M&E, designing programs and development plans, such that after 1 year, these young men and women can go to different places and different organizations around the country, as the case may be. So on that note, I'd also like to say that what we've tried to do with our plans is to ensure that it is mapped and mainstreamed to the Renewed Hope agenda. So if you look at our strategic roadmap, you see that for every point that we've mentioned, we are referencing the exact page of the manifesto of the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that there is that connection. Because at the end of the day, what the president promised to Nigerians, we are the tools and the platforms to ensure that those promises are kept. So on that note, I'd like to say thanks immensely to everyone. And I did miss out my brother from North Central, the managing director and CEO designate from the North Central Development Commission. I see him. We are working closely as a team. The Honorable Minister put all of us in a platform, and we're sharing, we're comparing notes. I'm learning from him, he's learning from us, we're learning from others. At the end of the day, there's no hidden solution. If we do something right and get it right, and it can be replicated in another region, Nigeria wins. If they do it right, and we see it and it looks nice, and we take it on and replicate it, Nigeria wins. We want to build a Southeast that is prosperous, but one that contributes to a prosperous Nigeria. Thank you very much.
I can assure you that the Southeast is in very good hands. Square peg, square hole. Can we put our hands together one more time for this dynamic young man? I'd like to welcome Honorable Uba Megari Amadu, Honorable Minister of State for Regional Development, who also joined us while he was speaking. So the two honorable ministers that are in the room, please, will invite you to join the MD and the chairman for a group photograph before we commence the interactive session.
They will be joined by the board and executive directors. The first frame, sorry sir, the first frame would be the Honorable Minister and Minister of State and resident representative of UNDP, the very intelligent Elsie Atafwa, and the chairman of the board of SEDC. Thankfully, we have a scarf. That is the first frame. So we are taking them in batches so that we have everyone visible.
Immediately after the photographs, we will open the floor for interaction. We have UNDP in the room. We have the MD, the chairman, and the honorable ministers are here. Any question you have about how to be part of what they are doing, the Southeast Development Commission will be entertained.
So the official photographer, just let me know when it's done. Just lift up your hands when you're done. Thank you. They'll now be joined by representatives of the National Assembly and the board and executive directors of SEDC and the management of UNDP. The management staff of UNDP. It's amazing. I think you will just shift a bit so that you have a curve. Yes. Thank you. Curve it, please. The management of UNDP seems to have left their representative alone. I know she's sufficient, but please join her. Management of UNDP, please join this photo. Thank you. Thank you for adding another female. I almost thought she was alone. And the three amazing women joined the Red Cap Chiefs. Sandwich yourselves in between, because the Southeast will work for women too, as it would work for men and young people. Thank you very much. Dambazo, are you done? While we would say thank you to the representatives of the National Assembly and UNDP, the management can leave. Representatives of the National Assembly can please leave, but Rep, you stay. Chairman of Board, stay. And the ministers stay. They will now be joined by representatives of federal MDAs here represented. Please. Ministries, departments, and agencies here represented? If none, please let's invite representatives of other regional development commissions. Representatives of other regional development commissions, please. We have quite a lot of you here present. Please join us. The Southeast is always welcoming. We're a home of hospitable people. Okay, Bank of Federal MDAs. Okay, thank you. NEPSA, thank you. I see you. Thank you. Mofi Incorporated, please. I saw a representative from Mofi. A little smile, please. It's a joyful day. Thank you. MDAs, thank you, as I invite representatives of other regional development commissions to join the frame. Other regional development commissions to please join the frame. Thank you. Thank you. One is enough for us. Please, representatives of development partners and DFIs to be on standby. Representatives of development partners and DFIs to please come forward. And then, the masquerades who will bring the funds for our projects, representatives of all the banks here present, to please come. The bankers who bring in the money. When you see bankers, you already know them. Ties, clear skin, smelling like pounds, dollars, euros, yuans, and all. I see my first bank. I have seen them. Thank you very much. You can stay here, sir, please. One more coming. Please hold it. Hold it. Let's form a concave, like prism, yeah. Carve it. Please step forward. Thank you. I'm sure the MD CEO is already planning how he'll have more women participate in the new convergence. The next one. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Thank you for indulging us. Please, a round of applause for them as my team lead takes the floor now to lead the next proceeding.
Thank you very much. As they step down now, they will take their seats. We have two more presentations, and then the floor will be open. And so, honorable ministers, we appeal. We have just 10 minutes presentation. We can let you go then. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So our first presentation will be in Southeast Investment Company. The head financial advisory. To present this, let me welcome here Ogodna Neji to please step forward and present the Southeast Investment Company. And then the second presentation will be on Southeast Venture Capital Program. Ogodna Neji, please. 5 minutes. Let's appreciate him. Let's settle down, please. Let's settle down. Let's settle down, please. Thank you very much. Let's settle down. Thank you very much. Yes.
Good afternoon, the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, the Honorable Minister of State for Regional Development, the Chairman of the House of the House Committee for SEDC, the resident representative of the UNDP in Nigeria, the Chairman, the MD, and the Executive Director of the Southeast Development Commission, representatives of other sister development commissions, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here today. My name is Dr. Ogodna Neji. I'm the head of risk advisory at Auburn Partners, a global investment consulting business headquartered in London with over $750 billion assets under advisory. I had the privilege of serving on the advisory committee constituted by the SEDC to design the conceptual framework for the Southeast Investment Company, SEIC. The committee comprised 8 professionals, some of which are here today. We have Obianuju Uchenna, who is there. We have Inedu, who is also in the crowd as well. But us 8 professionals stemmed from different walks of life, including infrastructure investments, development finance, asset management, legal, and public sector. We worked entirely pro bono, as the MD had mentioned, holding several virtual sessions over a period of about 6 weeks in total. But we were all driven by one conviction, and that conviction was that the Southeast region needs a bold, structured, and professionally governed vehicle to mobilize long-term capital for economic and infrastructure transformation. So the SEIC was conceived as a private sector-led independent vehicle set up by the SEDC, but intentionally structured to operate outside the annual government budgets. The mission was very clear: to become the leading private sector financier of high-impact economic development in the Southeast. We recognized that there were 3 key challenges, which were infrastructure deficits, limited access to long-term capital, and underutilized diaspora and cooperative wealth. So the SEIC is essentially structured to provide a platform to address these head-on. Our core objectives were as follows. Firstly, to mobilize blended capital from public, private, and diaspora sources. Secondly, we want to decouple from political cycles. SEIC must operate like an institutional investor. Thirdly, invest in commercially sustainable projects with transformational impact. And lastly, preserve and grow capital for long-term viability. These objectives informed all the decisions that we made when we were coming up with the conceptual framework. We designed SEIC around 5 interlocking portfolios. The first was an infrastructure asset portfolio, which should invest in roads, ports, rail, energy, and industrial zones. The second is an absolute return portfolio to diversify risk and build reserves for the future. Thirdly, we also looked at thinking about creating a portfolio around special interventions, which should help invest in things such as skills development, education, and social stabilization. Fourthly, we also encouraged to introduced the Entrepreneurship Development Fund, which is to target SMEs and exports. And lastly, a global treasury fund to provide liquidity and currency hedging, such that we can preserve the capital that we need to be able to make these investments. Each portfolio plays a very significant role in balancing risk, impact delivery, and financial sustainability. SEIC starts with 100% SEDC ownership but transitions to a public-private partnership model, which involves state government, diaspora investors, DFIs, and private sector. We propose a multi-layered governance structure with independent board, executive team, which is made up of significantly sound professionals across the finance and public-private partnership sectors, external fund managers, custodian, and auditors. We mapped out 3 phases in terms of the implementation plan. Between Q2 and Q3, the idea is to have a legal incorporation and regulatory clearance for the creation of the investment company. Between Q4 2025 and 2026, raise capital, design the portfolio, and pilot investments. Between 2026 and 28, regional scale-up and operational expansion. The timeline provides early traction while laying a foundation for scale. With respect to the capital structure, we're looking at a blended capital structure of around 300 billion, with 150 billion in structured capital coming from hybrid bonds as well as callable capital, whilst another 150 billion would be from the SEDC, states, diaspora, DFIs, public sector, and private sector investors. This approach actually balances development finance with commercial return expectations. We emphasize building a robust partner ecosystem, which includes the likes of AFDB, diaspora networks, cooperatives, and private capital providers. These partnerships will be key to crowding in capital, long-term capital that would help to build our dreams. Most importantly, we've also thought about the ESG principles as well, ensuring that SEIC embeds these principles from day one, focusing on inclusive growth, environmental stewardship, and transparency. We ensure that impact metrics will be integral in the reporting. Jobs created, infrastructure delivered, and capital mobilized will be tracked. Finally, the SEIC employs a tiered risk structure that ring-fests all the funds, all the portfolios, and ensures that there's clear risk segregation across all these portfolios. An institutional setup with an independent custodian, auditors, and fund manager ensures that there will be credibility and transparency. In closing, SEIC is just not a fund. It is a strategic instrument to catalyze regional renewal, bridging the gaps that we have currently, bringing discipline, innovation, and capital together for a better future. I'm honored to have contributed to this vision. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for him, please. And it's so good when you have someone who understands the importance of time. So for the next 5 minutes, we'll now be hearing about the Southeast Venture Capital Program with Innocent Isiche, Managing Partner, SU Associates. Please, a round of applause for him.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister of Regional Development, the Honorable Minister of State, the Chairman and the Managing Director of the Southeast Development Commission. Please permit me to stand on existing protocols established by the MC. My name is Innocent Isiche. As part of the assignment given to us by the management of SEDC, our work was to build a conceptual framework around the setup of a $50 million venture capital fund dedicated to supporting innovation and entrepreneurship in the Southeast. So today, and as part of our group, we had a group of about 7 people who cut across different layers, from those who have worked in setting up similar funds to those who run some of the leading foundations here in Nigeria. And we also had other folks from the diaspora who work with some of the leading tech companies globally. And so it was a very, very engaging work that we had to do over 6 weeks. And so today I'm actually glad to present some of the work that we did. Clearly, the Southeast Venture Capital Fund is a bold initiative which is really aimed at supporting creating economic opportunities and lasting growth that will help to support innovation in Nigeria's Southeast region. One of the things that, and as part of my work, my other work, I am a venture partner at the VC fund that saw how with access to funding and mentorship, you could actually see it really helped to scale up innovation, because this fund actually invested in some of the leading startups in Nigeria, called it MoneyPoint, Paystack, PiggyVest. And our hope is to see this sort of initiative being replicated in the Southeast, where we know you do have abundant talent. So in talking about the $50 million fund, this is a unique fund designed to address two key problems faced by startups. One, lack of investment for promising local businesses, and in also a fragmented support system that prevents some of these businesses from thriving. What we're referring to here is issues like mentorship, access to networks, guidance on how to scale a business and how to run a business. So it's very clear from the work we do that we can actually help to enable startups within the Southeast region where their creative ideas and businesses can actually grow and succeed. Our focus was how can we provide the much needed investment and practical support directly to the startups that have the potential to create jobs, to solve community problems, and to drive economic growth. We know the region is home to many hardworking entrepreneurs with good ideas, but as I noted, they often struggle because they lack access to funds and support networks. The Southeast Venture Capital Fund had 4 critical objectives. 1, provide startups with the crucial early stage funding that they need to grow and succeed. 2, to reduce the risk for investors by carefully selecting businesses, offering financial protection, and attracting more private sector participation. The third aspect was really around building and strengthening a supportive ecosystem. This refers to creating networks, providing mentorships, and establishing startup hubs where the entrepreneurs can get the practical help that they need. Fourth is also to ensure that this approach is also inclusive by ensuring that women, youths, and other disadvantaged groups can actually reap the benefits of the funding and mentorship that this scheme can provide. The ultimate objective is that the fund will operate for over a 10-year period. The first 5 years we focus on investments, and the other 5 years we focus on harvesting the returns from this investment. And we hope to leverage funding from organizations beyond SEDC, from other public and private sector partners, a blended financing approach, including those from the Nigerian diaspora who are keenly interested in looking at bankable investment opportunities in the Southeast. To help these businesses succeed, the goal is to offer targeted mentorship, training programs, and even international exchange opportunities that will help them to actually know how to build scalable businesses. We'd also believe that it's also important to track the impact of their work using clearly and measurable indicators aligned with international standards. Some of the key focus areas for investment that the fund actually looked at include agriculture, fintech, health, and the creative industries. These are sectors we know within the Southeast have significant potential to improve economic conditions and quality of life. The other part which we're clearly interested in was really around the institutional and governance structure, which we believe if you have the right structure, it makes it more easier to actually raise funds, particularly from development partners and also private sector investors. One of the things which we looked at was to ensure that you have an experienced independent fund manager who will be carefully selected through a competitive RFP process. Additionally, we also work to include dedicated oversight committees for the investment committee as well as a committee for the limited partners to ensure that you have effective accountability and effective risk management in managing the fund. The implementation roadmap, what we looked at was clearly to make sure that towards the end of the fourth quarter, we officially launch the fund, and select a capable fund manager. By late 2025 into 2026, the goal is to secure the first $12 to $50 million to start investing immediately in promising businesses. From 2026 to 2028, the goal is to actually expand the outreach, involve more international partners, and strengthen the pipeline of businesses that need support. The initial anchor investment from the Southeast Development Commission is at $5 million, and the idea is it's to help to de-risk investment by ensuring that other investors know that, from a first loss perspective, that the Southeast Development Commission actually has skin in the game. And this will make it easier to reach the funding goal, along with the structures that we put in place, the governance structure and accountability structures. Partnerships is another area which we looked at. We believe is very critical to the success of this fund. And the goal is to ensure that they work closely with local organizations within the Southeast and also in other parts of the Southeast, academic institutions, development finance organizations, and diaspora networks, where you can build a comprehensive support system for entrepreneurs. In addition, we also put in place structures to ensure sustainability, environmental responsibility, and social inclusion are also part of the investment objectives of the fund. This means prioritizing investments that support gender equality, youth empowerment, and responsible business practices. To ensure safety and encourage investors, the idea is that the financing model, one that actually helps to reduce risk. As I mentioned, by having an anchor fund, investors know that the first loss that occurs in the fund would be borne initially by the Southeast Development Commission, and what that would do is that encourage them to knowing that all parties are protected from first losses, and what it then does is that it gives them that comfort of knowing that there's protection when they invest in the fund. But ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we want to know that the Southeast Venture Capital Fund is more than just financial support. It's really a comprehensive initiative aimed at fundamentally improving the economic landscape, creating jobs, and fostering a vibrant entrepreneurial community in Nigeria's Southeast. With the support of respected partners, we believe this can enhance the effectiveness and show meaningful and sustainable development for the people and communities of the region. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Innocent Siche. Very quickly, I'd like to welcome Mr. Amovi Ezeako, CEO Enugu Rangers, CEO Enugu Rangers Football Club, to quickly step forward here, do the short 5 minutes, because what the Southeast Development Commission will be doing is all encompassing, from the creative industry to tourism to sports. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Because I do not have time, I will just beg to stand on already established protocol. The Southeast Grassroots Recreation Infrastructure Development, SEGRID. We worked on this for about 6 weeks, and it may interest you to note that the likes of Victor Anichebe and ABM Enike, who is well known in the Court of Arbitration for Sports, was on this panel, and myself as well, the FIFA Master alumni. The executive summary for what we did. The SEGRID is a regional program to transform sports and recreation through infrastructure, talent development, and capacity building. It aims to improve youth engagement, social inclusion, and regional unity. For us, we discovered that the region lacks inclusive recreational infrastructure and systems for talent progression, and we aim to close this gap with long-term partnership and structured development model. The core objectives: construct multi-sports facilities and academies. In the Southeast, you find that we lack the academy system, and since the inception of the SEDC, you can see that clubs like Rangers now have established their youth system, Enyimba, of course, in Aba as well, heartland of Owerri. Build capacity of coaches and officials. We discovered through our studies that we lack coaches with depth, and it is one core objective for us to run an inclusive league and a tournament, create a pathway for athletes, and wellness support. We want to bring back the Mary Onyalis, JJ Okochas, Kanoan course. And for us, the program component is categorized this way: the infrastructure development, Center for Excellence, schools, community facilities, talent identification and development, talk about the academy, the scouting network, and of course, performance system. And then the sports programs, talking about the leagues, the camps. Don't have youth camps in the country, not to talk of the region. So in the Southeast, we want to make a viable youth camp, a system, and an inclusive system for girls in sports. That's why 2 weeks ago, Enugu Rangers, for the first time since 1970, also announced the establishment of the Rangers women team. And it's all in line with the vision of the Southeast Development Commission. And just lastly, the implementation roadmap, the short-term planning, the pilot facilities, the coach training, or the mid-term, which will take about 1 to 2 years, the school and community rollout tournament, and of course, the long-term plan, the regional leagues, and the international linkages. But the people who worked on this, and of course the SEDC, they are very passionate about sports, and that's why when we come on board to discuss this, their eyes light up. They want to get things going. That's why even the long-term plans we have, you find that today we are talking about them. That's why some clubs now in the Southeast have alliances with clubs in Europe. For instance, the alliance Enugu Rangers has with Schaffhausen in Switzerland, and of course what Kanoanko is doing with Enyimba and the clubs in the Scandinavian region. Conclusively, I would like to use this opportunity to thank the MD and everyone at the SEDC, and to charge all of us to really put our hearts to this. Together, we believe that through the instrumentality of sports, through the instrumentality of the passion that resonates in the hearts of the young people in the Southeast, that our region will be a safe haven. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable ministers that are here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. We have the ministers that are seated. We have the MD, the chairman of the Development Commission. We have UNDP in the room. You can ask any question. We have the opportunity to take at least 4 interventions. Raise your hand, identify yourself, the microphone will come to you.
Good afternoon. Hello, ministers and every other leader here present. My name is Linus Okore, the CEO of Godney Leadership Center. I want to commend the chairman and board members of the Southeast Development Commission for drafting such a very comprehensive vision. The vision is grand. The vision is excellent. As a leadership coach, the only thing I see that has not been pronounced the way I want it to be pronounced is the fact that Southeast has its own peculiarities right now. All of this won't work until there is massive mindset leadership transformation program that precedes a lot of the things we're talking about. Because you want to buy in, you want a buy-in of the young people in the state. There has to be a buy-in. They must see this as their own. they must say, in fact, if young people in the Southeast buy this as their own, what it means is that you realize that they can see a future that is really, really, really great for them. So mindset transformation, leadership capital development is critical. It is fundamental. I believe, I've been thinking about it for a very long time, and I tell you the truth, that Southeast of Nigeria deserves peace in an extraordinary way, but the fastest way to guarantee it is when young people own it, that this is our own. But let's start with their thinking, the quality of their mindset. Let's start with the quality of their thinking. Let's start with bold imaginations in their minds, their attitudes. And those who are going to implement this too, their mindset would also be bold, great imagination as well. So that from the two pathways, you create a vision that works. And Mr. Chairman, MD, I want to commend you again for all of this great vision. But can we start an attitudinal change program, mindset transformation program that is huge, not small stuff, not incremental type of stuff, massive mobilization of the people of Southeast with a vision to take their mindset from something that is possible, is doable, and it is now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Linus Okorie.
Possible, doable, now.
Thank you very much. My name is Obaro Osa. I work for Bank of Industry. Thank you, MD, for a wonderful presentation. Just a short comment. I like your dream, but I think that you need partners like the Bank of Industry. I also want you to focus on the value chain development. I have the privilege to have been in Southeast. I stayed in Enugu 4 years. So I have a clear history of the entire Southeast. I know you are strong on rice, on the Abakaliki axis. I know you are strong on cassava. I know you are strong palm oil products. These are major products that the entire value chain should be developed. And you can have partners almost immediately in driving that because it's immediate production, immediate revenue, immediate employment, immediate entrepreneurship developed across the entire value chain. So I think that they should focus on these major natural resources, which has been there from time immemorial. And if you push on that, you actually create more economy for our people. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, we will take interventions from as many people that want to speak. But we really want to hear from the funders and our development partners how we will drive this process. We want your interventions to be mixed. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to really commend, my name is Senator Yorubu, convener geopolitics series. I major in the area of intersection between media and security, which is the area I want to emphasize on. And I want to thank both the MD, the directors, and the chairman. In fact, listening to you people, it has inspired me. You know, when I was informed of this, I came with my mind open. I already have some things I feel I can pitch, but listening to the MD, they've done really extensive work. And I want to align with what my elder brother, Dr. Linus, said, but from a very different perspective. And the MD did mention about the 3 R's, the reconciliation, the rehabilitation, and reintegration. But I want us to look at the area of reconciliation. A lot of Southeast people have issue of trauma that need to be healed, and is where that issue of orientation. So the issue of peace And without peace, there will not be development. So we need peace in the area, and it starts from mindset change, like Linus has talked about, and also issue of trauma healing, which also intersects with strategic communication. And then the area of tourism, which I emphasize on. But if we achieve peace, these other areas we mentioned will automatically begin to set the tempo. I know when we are growing up, coming home Christmas is something, a lot of us look forward to, but these days most of us hardly go because of the issue of insecurity. I think it's something we need to, peace and security need to be emphasized on, very key for every other thing to really set in. Then the tourism and cultural diplomacy, tourism potential have not been harnessed enough, which is an area we need to also look into. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Please, the man behind there, please.
Thank you. My name is Innocent Odo. I'm a journalist and a researcher. Now, my question is regarding industrialization, which the MD mentioned when he was making his presentation. Now, I want to ask the MD, please. The Nigerian policy of industrialization, how do you align it with your own policy of the Southeast Development Commission, knowing fully well that we have some serious challenges in the industrialization policy of Nigeria? So the second question is, you also mentioned something about that. I think I heard you say something about gas development. The question is, now the Nigerian gas policy also, did he actually put gas or gas production in the Southeast? If not, why? And what is your commission doing to see if you can actually reconcile it with the national gas policy? Thank you.
MD, do I come to you? We keep going. All right.
Hello. My name is Jimmy Webele. I'm the Group Business Director for a company called MP Infrastructure. We are a major stakeholder in the Southeast, specifically in Anambra State, where I've had the honor of working with the MD of SEDC. We've built the first smart city in the southeast of Nigeria called Awka Millennium City, one of the most successful PPPs in Anambra State. We also own the biggest poultry farm in the southeast called Lindem Farms, which is the over 2 million birds built by the Dutch company, Big Dutchman. So we are major strategic investors. We've done a lot of infrastructure work, and we're hoping to start we're in engagement with the government on the new Onitsha city, which we're calling Onitsha 2.0. So I come here as a major stakeholder in the Southeast. I must say Anambra State has been very effective in galvanizing private investment. I'm hoping now that we now have an SEDC, that the SEDC will now be able to galvanize regional investment from private sector investors. I know that Mark has a lot of experience in investment promotion and attracting investors. It'd be nice to know what the strategy is to work with serious investors in the region who are going to bring investment. How do we get DFI support? A lot of the DFIs are focusing on infrastructure, but we are the people in the trenches doing the infrastructure. We're building the roads, building the cities, building the fiber, building all the infrastructure that we talk about. And if any of you had the chance to go to Awka Millennium City, you'll see a 110-hectare city with roads, water, power, fiber, CCTV, surveillance cameras, everything you could think about infrastructure. So I'm hoping that the SEDC will support us and support other serious developers, serious infrastructure players. The Southeast doesn't lack entrepreneurs. What it needs is an enabling environment, and I'm hoping that the SEDC will give us the required support to deliver. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Andy Ezemwa. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Innocent Care Consulting. My Chairman, thank you so much for your speech. Regards from my Chairman, Chief Dr. Innocent Chabu. In our consortium, we are involved in human capital development in the Southeast for the last 13 years. And I've listened to what you've said and your ideas. But
We have a contribution over there.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Ifesie, and I represent the United States Market Access Center based in the Silicon Valley. I want to commend the Managing Director who delivered a very brilliant submission this afternoon. I was most impressed with his comprehensive submissions. And I want to quickly add that we are world-class enablers of innovation, digital innovation, and entrepreneurship development systems all over the world. We are in 82 countries, and we are just arriving in Africa. And so we would like to support the Southeast Development Commission in two ways. First, the venture capital fund, and secondly, the investment company. We have a lot to offer to support what you have done already, and we will be grateful if given the opportunity. And so I want to humbly ask the MD if it is too late to join any of these committees pro bono. We are willing to join, and we are also willing to give you the Silicon Valley touch in your, which is, we know is the epicenter of digital innovation in the world. We work closely with the University of California, Berkeley, and Stanford University in California when it comes to entrepreneurship development. And we would like to give the Southeast a world-class best. I am from the Southeast, so this is an opportunity to bring something home to the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sir, here, please.
Standing on the existing protocol. My name is Okudili Eku. I'm from Kari Asset Management Limited. We are investment bankers. Listening to the MD, I was quite impressed that they are setting up an investment company that would drive long-term infrastructure financing in the Southeast. I want to assure the Commission that the Nigerian capital market is deep enough, very deep, and we have available resources, and we have the capacity to mobilize funds to finance some of these projects if they are indeed bankable. So the emphasis is on making it bankable and then having the necessary guarantees. We are also very glad to say that we now have infrastructure systems like the infra credits and the credit company that can provide some kind of investment credits for financing of infrastructure. But we would like to advise that the ownership of this company should be made private sector led, that the government ownership should not have a controlling stake, so that we can have confidence of the investing public in it, and as much as possible, given that we have about 21 trillion naira in diaspora remittances every year, that will structure products licensed by SEC that can make these Nigerian diasporans, most of whom are from the Southeast, to see the need to invest in the Southeast Development Commission via the investment company. So we are willing to partner with the Commission in providing advisory services, also on pro bono basis, to ensure that we can either go through a roadmap around the Southeast states to show them why they need to have a stake in the company that is going to provide the financing for infrastructure. Just like the MD said, the government cannot fund the infrastructure gap. We need private funds, and we need to attract them and make them comfortable. Thank you.
Yeah, very good afternoon. My name is Augustine Onyakwel. I want to stand on the existing protocol. First and foremost, I want to thank my friend Mark for this very important occasion he has brought people to discuss on the roadmap. What I want to say is that in the course of his presentation, he did mention some of the roadmaps that the Southeast Development Commission is taking. and I looked at that. I don't know whether after this event there will be like another engagement within the regions, whereby some of the practitioners, like the academias, the entrepreneurs, we have a lot of them, and the youth, the civil societies, the market leaders will appreciate what the commission is doing, and that will give them the buy-in, because most of them may not have the privilege of being in Abuja as the program is going on. More importantly, I want to say, coming from the Nigerian Export Processing Zones Authority, I looked at the 3 document that was distributed to us, and I want to say that the Special Economic Zone will provide a plank towards industrializing the region. And in doing that, it provides opportunity for people to buy infrastructural upgrades, capacity building, train the trainer, tourism. There's a lot of value chain, agro and agro-allied businesses. Yesterday we were at Bauchi State event that they want to also take advantage of that. And I want to employ Mark, because he is also coming from that background as former MD of Anambra Investment Protection Agency. So the Special Economic Zone should be at the forefront, because that is what both developing, underdeveloped and developed economies of the world is using to turn around the event. I want to thank you for this privilege, and I wish us a very, very successful deliberation, and that at the end, the Southeast region will be a reference point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations on this conference. My name is Professor Onyi Wambara, and I'm the Secretary Board of Directors, Southeast Region Economic Development Company, SEDC, that has been in existence now for almost 8 years. If you look the mission and vision of Southeast Development Commission, you will notice that it has, some of us here have attended our annual economic summit in the Southeast. You will notice that there are a lot of similarities. What we have done, and we would love to partner with Southeast Development Commission, we've been able to develop an economic blueprint for the entire Southeast. This blueprint was developed by Brain Trust of South Africa, the organization that developed the blueprint for Rwanda right after the genocide, Namibia, and recently Ghana. So we at SEDC, we are open to partner with the Southeast Development Commission. Each state in the Southeast has areas of potential that we have identified. And it'll be very, very interesting for this commission, because it cannot embark on attracting capital investment without having an economic blueprint. Those of you that are financial experts here know that more than I do. The only region in Nigeria that has an economic blueprint is the Southwest. And they can be able to go anywhere in the world and garner investment. So with this, for those of us at SEDC, we will partner, we will look forward to working with this commission so that this commission will be a role model amongst other commissions. And I know with the team, people have what it takes to make Southeast the envy of other commissions in this country. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
We have a female voice over there with a contribution. No, we have a female voice. That's the last one. That's the last one.
Thank
you. The Honorable Minister, sir, we have a funder. Maybe they want to make commitments onto how many $1 billion they are bringing in. But let's hear from the female first, please.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Ogechi Ogun. I'm coming from the development sector, not not as a funder, but somebody that has been working in this sector for over a decade now. Now, I want to contribute by mentioning three things. The importance of education. I'm happy the MD, while making his presentation, mentioned education. I want to talk about security. I want to talk about also the people awareness creation. We are talking about the Southeast, but I can't say the percentage of individuals in the Southeast that know about the existence of the Southeast Development Commission. This is quite critical. The people should know you are working for them. This is for our own progress. They should know what this commission is all about. Now, for us to have a sustainable intervention in the Southeast, we must think the future, we must think our young ones, and we must think, you are talking about entrepreneurship, we are talking about investment. What type of education are we giving our children? We know that in some universities now, they have courses on entrepreneurship and things like that. But how far is this going in terms of actual implementation? From secondary school, from even primary school, our children should start thinking of building skills in specific areas so that we will have enough competence and capacity to maintain whatever development programs we have in the Southeast. Now, when we talk about security, the Southeasterners are business people. They are business-minded. They are willing to invest, but there are always concerns regarding security. So what I would wish to contribute here is that whatever discussions that is being held with our governors should be deepened in such a way that this issue of security is dealt with. Because without that, many people will still be having issues coming into the Southeast to invest. Thank you for the opportunity.
UBA?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Alex Alozia. I work with UBA. And I want to say thank you to the board of Southeast Development Commission. You know, what we see today is vision, clear vision of a group that knows where they are going. But I just want to, before I make my comments, I just want to caution. You know, the biggest challenge we have today in Nigeria is that every area needs development. And when you go into such that you want to touch all areas, and at the end of the day, you end up not achieving it. And what I see here today is that I see a phased implementation of development in Southeast. And we advise and encourage that you should continue with that phase. You know, there's phase one, there's phase two. And if you look at what you have today on the investment company and on the joint venture capital company, you will see that once you take off, confidence will be stopped. And 150 billion, 50 billion looks like a big amount. But I'm very sure that with a partner like UBA, it will be very easy to raise a 150 billion. And it will also be very easy to raise a 50 billion naira in Southeast. We have actually worked with them in the last 2 months. And with the people I see in the board, UBA is committed that will stand by you. Funding is usually a major problem for such development. But with UBA, you will not have such issue with funding. Thank you very much.
My MD CEO, sir, it's over to you. I'm sure he'll give you at 1% interest.
The Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister of State, Mr. Chairman, all other protocols duly observed. Thank you very much. I want to also thank the Honorable Ministers for being here. I keep saying it that he's changing the game for how ministers operate. I have been in government for more than 13 years. And in all that time, I've done a lot of coming to Abuja, sitting on different committees. And usually, after the opening remarks, you don't see the minister again. But when you look at the media, you see the minister was there for 7 hours. But with our minister here and his colleague, he leads from the front. When we had a 3-day retreat, he sat there the entire time. In fact, it was some of us, young ones who are trying to catch up with him. We'll be in your room at 8:30. They say, Minister is already downstairs. We start running. On some days, some of us didn't even shower because the Honorable Minister was already in the hall. So thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, Honorable Minister for State. So I think for us, engagement is something we enjoy. I continue to say, and I think it's the mantra of the entire team at SEDC, from executive management to the chairman to the board, is that we want to listen. When we listen, we tweak the plan, because ultimately, it's not an SEDC plan. It's a people's plan. It's Nigeria's plan. It's the Southeasterners' plan. So we like to hear from everyone. So I'll just run through it very quickly because I know time is of essence. I think Dr. Linus Okorie, who has done fantastic work in the area of leadership development, mindset shift, change management, and what have you. A lot of your plans and your thoughts and your contributions, very well captured. I can tell you, if there's anybody who shouts, who screams about this when we're in strategy sessions, it's ED Finance or Ajuruka and ED Corporate Services. Always talking about mindset shift. If we don't change the mind, we can't do anything. So it's something we must do. But in the same with the same mindset and positive energy of a lot of people here, we throw the work back to you because we are policy formulators. We are administrators. Give us a blueprint, submit it to us, let's tweak it, and let's start moving. So the ball is in your court. Number 2 is from the BOI, who says value chain development is important. We completely agree. When we say we want to do 50,000 hectares of land development, precision land development, such that you can do tractorization, you can do all of that, you have irrigation facilities, all of that adds to what we'll be planting there is our cash crops and some of our staple crops. And then supporting with the special economic zones and the SAPCs being done by African Development Bank, being supported by African Development Bank, all of that essence is in value chain development. The point man on that is the ED for Agriculture, Natural Resources and Rural Development. So please catch him when you can. But you are the financier. Olashupo is a good friend of ours, your CEO. He has committed to supporting us. But I always say, to ensure organizations are effective, you have to do a top-down approach and a bottom-up. We've engaged with Olashupo. We've heard our plans at your level. Push it upwards also, so that you apply the pressure on him to support us. But we're ever ready to work with him. On industrialization, I think there were comments around industrialization and gas. Agreed. The fuel for industrialization is gas. At the same time, we still have we have numerous sectors, numerous factories that are in the southeast that are still producing, right? We have CNG already that is being done by eBay too, by Power Gas around the areas. We have the midstream front from NNPC to support mini LNGs. All of these are initiatives that what we are trying to do at SEDC is to create a platform such that federal government agencies who want to drive implementation can see us as a veritable partner to engage and deploy their resources in a very methodical and systematic way. So for us, industrialization is critical. We are working closely with NEBSA, and we'll be on a number of special economic zones that we want to open up, working closely with the states. And on gas development, we're engaging the right authorities. As you know, Mr. President was there in the second week of January, and when this was tabled, he promised that he would commence work very quickly on a gas master plan and implementation for the Southeast. Secondly, when he was in Anambra, it was tabled by Governor Soludo. He also made that promise. As we stand, a lot of work is being done through the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund around the planning for the Southeast Gas Master Plan. So I believe it's on course. I think a point on strategy, how the private sector can work with, yes, MP infrastructure. I can tell you, Honorable Minister, sir, if you see what they did, 100 hectares, 18 kilometers of internal roads, 762 plots of land with piped power, piped fiber, and piped water. You pay for water in that estate with your meter based on your consumption. That's how they do it there. And 24 hours power, all in Oka. And they did this in 3 years during COVID year. They put their seed capital, and the balance was funded by diasporans. Most of the people that live there, their own lands, they are doctors, people in Lagos, people in Beijing, around the places. For us, it's a model that we want to study and see how we replicate. But we also thank Mr. President, because when we see the ICRC policy that was just released about 3 days ago, that tried to reduce the bureaucracy around public-private partnerships on the back of the summit held by ICRC about 2 weeks ago. Very, very critical, saying basically in the past, even if you have a 1 billion naira PPP opportunity, it has to go all the way through ICRC and then go to Mr. President, then come to Federal Executive Council before it's approved. That's what was the bottleneck. And this policy had been there for the last 20 years. Nobody changed it. But that's why Mr. President says we need hope. With the structure now, anything from 0 to 20 billion naira, you do it with ICRC, you reach out to him, I'm sure under 1 month, 2 months is approved. That is the opportunity to engage. That's the platform that allows us to work closely with the private sector. Secondly is the Southeast Investment Company. For us, that's the platform that will think through project development across multi-sectors, multi-SPV structures, and all of that. So I believe that in the next few months, you will see a lot more, there will be a lot more impetus in these organizations. They'll start taking their face with the right leadership that is credible so that they can work closely with you. Then on the gentleman from the United States Market Access, thank you very much for the partnership. The committee had submitted their work, so what they have presented is their ideas. These documents will be made public, so we'll share it on our social media handles, and you can make your comments and see how you can support us. But like I say, the executive directors are here across different areas. Engage them, reach out. The gentleman who chaired the committee is here, speak to him. We want ideas, and we want to see how we can get those ideas to work for the people of the Southeast and for Nigeria in general. Then we have Cowrie Asset. We know you very well, and I think yours is a comment and contribution, and the commitment to support. So please shoot us a mail, do us a letter, let's start the conversation, let's see how we can engage. We are confident. See that figure they put there, 150, 300 billion. I believe we believe that we can do 2 trillion. But sometimes to do 2 trillion, you have to start with 5 billion or 10 billion and see if you can raise that money and go end to end and be successful on that. And then that grows trust in the process, and then it's credible. So we believe that whatever we dream we can achieve, but it's just the plans and how methodical are we in achieving that. Then we have Professor Nwabara. Fantastic. I know of Seredek. I had followed it. Is that the one with Bat Naji and a number of other persons? Yeah, about 7 years ago, I remember being in a strategy session with then Southeast governors on that. Please, happy to work together, happy to partner. Shoot us a mail, reach out to us while we're having coffee. Let's take those conversations further. Development sector, yes, your points are well noted, madam. Security, education, awareness campaigns, I think these are cross-cutting conversations and ideas that have come up. But I think even on education and health, you may say, why wasn't it quite explicitly spelled out? We've studied the model of a lot of other development commissions. We've seen their successes, we've seen areas that have created friction. So in working closely with the governors, primary and secondary healthcare, primary and secondary education, we think that the governors are very well equipped with the support they also get from other federal government agencies to intervene in those areas. But when you look at tertiary education, tertiary health, specialist institutions, thinking around how to site them, where to put a cancer center, where to do this, these are things that we want to leverage the Southeast Investment Company to achieve, working closely with our partners internationally and our partners locally. So that's how we want to make that impact in healthcare and education, as the case may be. And then on the policy side, we can support the state government's policy side and not necessarily implementation in projects on primary and secondary levels. Then lastly is our friend Alex representing the Bankers Committee. We had our own 2 months ago, and we believe that when we are ready, see that private sector element of SEIC, we see the venture capital. We know Tony Elumelu will put $1 million in our venture capital. We also know that the banks will come and take equity stake in the Southeast Investment Company because we want to run it like a company. You set up AFC some 15 years ago. You own about a 3% stake in AFC. You can own a 5% stake in SEIC and give us 10 billion naira. We're going to be working with you. So thank you very much. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, MD CEO of the Southeast Development Commission. It's been amazing having all of you making your comments, asking your questions, and interrogating the situation. But for us to begin to wind down, I would like to welcome here the Honorable Minister of State for Regional Development, Honorable Ba Megeri Amadou, to move the vote of thanks. Honorable Minister, please.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo, FNSE, Chairman, Governing Board of the SEDC, my brother, if you allow, Mecca Magu. Executive Directors of SEDC, Managing Director SEDC, Mr. Mark Okoye, a mark of distinction. Distinguished guests, resource persons, so many dignitaries, our representatives from the National Assembly, the Senate, and the House of Reps, investors, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Let me first of all start by apologizing for coming a little bit late actually. I sent a message to our MD Mark, but unfortunately I only got to know that it never delivered when I arrived here, so I apologize again. My task has been made very simple, that is just to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the Ministry of Regional Development. But before then, let me use this opportunity to say boldly and clearly that I am very, very pleased, and I'm sure the Honorable Minister shares our sentiments. We are pleased with Mark, we are pleased with the way we are going, and we are very confident that this Development Commission represents at least one sure bullet that will shoot down all major development challenges we have in the country. And what more do we add? Mark is prepared, very well prepared. He's challenging all other development commissions. I like the way it's going. I love what we see, and we like the positive energy. The competition is good. It's all going to turn out for the better of Nigeria in general, but the Southeast in particular. We thank you all for coming. We hope we get another opportunity to do this as often as possible, and we will commit as a ministry to always be there for you, to make sure that we make your work a little bit easier. And as we leave at the end of this all, we pray that God takes you home to your various destinations in good stead you came in. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you. And so, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's been amazing. The journey to the transformation of the Southeast has started with all of you here. And Dr. Linus Okorie, the mindset is in your hands now. Shall we all rise for the national anthem, please?
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. sovereign motherland.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your afternoon, enjoy your day. Have a wonderful day. Uzamaka.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, South East Development Commission. Thank you, UNDP. Thank you to the amazing, amazing LC at Afua. Thank you to the UNDP team. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the funders, the developers, the partners, and all of us committed to making the Southeast great. May the Southeast be great. Good afternoon.